Hello everyone and welcome to the Hobby Guard. In today's video I will be talking about the news that broke today, I think, that there is an upcoming Bloodborne movie, a movie about one of the best games ever made, and apparently it's gonna be an animated movie. I don't have a lot of information. There is not a lot of information out there just yet about the length of the movie. This could be just a short film. We don't know exactly which style of animation it'll be. We don't know if it'll be 2D, 3D animation. At least I wasn't able to find that information. We have some information about who is producing this movie, and apparently it's a YouTuber, which I just found out about him today. He's like a horror game YouTuber from what I was able to find on his channel. But Bloodborne is, as I mentioned earlier, one of the best games ever made. And personally, it is one of the most impactful games in my life. The experience, the stories, because I must have played that game at least 5 times, like from start to finish. Likely even more, to be honest, closer to 8 probably, if I'm being very honest. But each time that I played it, I lived a different story. And ever since I read the news earlier today that a movie was coming out, I cannot stop thinking, just like every time we hear about an adaptation, a movie adaptation for a game that we like, we always wonder what story will be told. And so I want to address that topic today. Which stories I think could be told, and I would love to read in the comments down below which story or what would you like to see in this film that reflects, that imitates or captures the magic of playing Bloodborne. Now in the background here you can see an edit by Eileen, I believe, called It's Not Just a Game. Sorry, It's Just a Game for Bloodborne. So yeah, I'll be playing that over and over again because I plan to yap for a bit. So with that being said, again, welcome to the Hobby Guard, and please like and subscribe if you like to support this channel and if you would like to see more videos and more varied content like this. So Bloodborne is basically any From Software game by Miyazaki is a challenge, to say the least, to adapt into a script, right? Because the stories in the game, there is a story, but we only get fragments of it, and even that you sort of have to go out of your way in game to sort of put the pieces together, fit the pieces together to the puzzle of the story. And even then, even after so many years of conspiracies and theories about what the game is actually about, people till this day, I think more than 10 years after the game came out, yeah, certainly more than 10 years after, oh god, I'm so old. Anyways, people are still arguing about different theories on this game. It would be a mistake to think that everything that is to be said about this game has been said already. And so this presents a specific challenge, a very particular challenge on how to tell a story on this. Now, obviously the easiest answer is, well, we'll just tell the story of the hunter, of the protagonist of the game. I personally believe that would be a mistake, because here's the thing with any From Software game. There, as I said, there is a setting, there is an underlying story. Often though, the most impactful parts of the story already happening, and we are usually just exploring the aftermath of great events. That is not to say that there are no great events in the game. We get to see the conclusions of many of these storylines that started sometimes hundreds of years before we even began playing. And on that same note, we don't even have a clear timeline of how long the setting has been running for, kind of on a loop, because Bloodborne is a very dreamy world. Now, it's certainly a horror game, a cosmic horror game, a gothic cosmic horror game at that. Heavily Lovecraft inspired, obviously, but with many other different inspirations as well. But yes, I think that to tell the story of the main character, it would be not only very hard, but sort of a missed opportunity. Because as I explained earlier, each time you play the game, you sort of build your own story, you sort of write your own story as you're playing, as in any good RPG. And there are different paths based on how you roleplay the game, which skills you develop, even which armor and weapons you end up using, what do you cosplay as during the game, that you can choose that will, I suppose, alter to an extent the story and which story you tell throughout the game. But this game is, even though it's kind of devoid of a lot of characters, there's very few characters there. Well, there's plenty, I should say, but not as not like not the amount of characters that you would find in an open world RPG, for example. It's somewhat linear. There is a lot of linearity, and a lot of these characters you have to go out of your way to finish their quest lines, to progress their story, like really go out of your way. And even then, some of them have different endings to their quest lines, to their stories. So, okay, then it will be hard to even focus not only on the main character, but also on the side characters. Well, for that, I believe that it is fundamental to focus the movie on capturing a story that A, hasn't been told before, and B, perfectly reflects the themes of the game, the feeling of the setting, the tone of the setting. Now that is no easy feat, and the only thing that can come to mind, even close to mind, for me to explain or to set up the tone for what Bloodborne is actually a line from a movie based on one of Edgar Allan Poe's stories called The Mask of the Red Death. And it's not a line, it's a few lines, and I don't know them by heart or anything, but they go something like this. This Prince Prospero, he has a captive girl. This is a world ravaged by plague called the Red Death. And, well, there's a lot going on, but I want to focus on a part where he finds a cross hanging from her neck, and he starts to interrogate her, like, why do you have a cross hanging from your neck? And he starts to sort of Reddit atheist her into like believing that there is no God and whatever. And at some point he says something similar. Let me return the video here just so it doesn't end up too fast. This awesome edit. Unfortunately the quality is not great, but the edit is pretty cool. At some point he says something like, there is a key, Francesca, in the human mind that connects us to God. My ancestors tried to find it, to open the door that separates us from our creator. Pardon, if you will, the cringe of my impersonation of Prince Prospero and Francesca. And Francesca goes, you need no door to find God. If you believe. If you believe, you are gullible. Can you look around this world truly and believe in the goodness of a God that rules it? Famine, pestilence, war, disease and death, they rule this world. There is also love and light and hope. Very little hope, I assure you. No, if a God of love and life ever did exist, he is long since death. And something rules in his place. Now a screenshot that was for you to handle. That is exactly the feeling that I get from the game Bloodborne. It is not a game that's lacking in hope or heroism, but it is just so bleak, and even the gods themselves, or what can only pass as gods, are set against you if you choose to go out of your way to find them. The monsters that you fight are actually people, and the ruthless hunters that are set upon them, well, they react to the things that they go through in different ways. Some of them, they just get horrible PTSD for their own actions, their own crimes that they committed against these beasts that they realize are just people, and they start fighting for said beasts. So some hunters take that route. Other hunters find out a truth that goes beyond what their minds can handle, and they find entities that rule the reality like gods, and they are so outside of our ability to understand that they go mad and they commune with them, some for power, some for knowledge, some for wisdom, and in turn they get deformed. Some of them try to cling to their ideals of heroism and bravery, but in this reality that they just end up deformed physically by the own ideals that they try to represent, and they often meet horrible ends. There is also stories of duty, stories of love, that is not reciprocated. There is a lot of stories about loss. There is stories about the endless pursuit for knowledge and the extent to which organizations and people, members of said organizations, will go to pursue them. The endless, to find that knowledge, forbidden knowledge, if you will. The pursuit of science and the horrors that can be committed in the pursuit of science. The pursuit of divinity and understanding. The pursuit of power, religious, scientific, physically violent, bellicose, or otherwise. And also the fight against mortality. So yeah, pretty much everything in this game is set up against you. But in that same setting, there are lots of stories that could be told. And that's always what I would like to see in a movie about a game that's just so wide and covers so many topics, but with so little detail, some of them. We basically have two routes we can go if you want to go with a smaller side story kind of thing. You can tell a smaller side story that shows an angle that we haven't really seen of how one of these events happens, because the lore in Bloodborne goes back, I think, thousands of years. It is very ancient, and it gets a lot into... There's a lot of parallels to occultism, to hermetic lore, to Gnostic lore, as well as obviously everything with a good tinge of cosmic horror. But there is also just your superficial horror, Bram Stokerian horror of the monster, not only the unknown and the eldritch and the things that you can't understand or comprehend, but also the things that you see right in front of you, that they just represent a threat, an affront against the goodness of the world, against God, what we think is God, and an insult against God, right? A lot of the biblical stories or the hero's journey, they are in this game, like the virgin birth and so on. They're just completely inverted in a way that just changes them from maybe a hopeful story into horror, literal cosmic horror. Now, I'm not a religious I should say I'm not a member of any religious organization, but I do like to read spiritual texts and religious texts that from different organizations, and whatever. Organizations is a weird word, but from different spiritual traditions, let's say. And ever since I played this game, and I read some of the stories in those games, even like in those texts, even going back as far as just mythological times, I cannot help but to read them. A little voice in my head just reads them out as cosmic horror. Like, if this stuff actually went down, these reality-breaking events actually went down, and let's say a virgin woman got pregnant by an entity, an all-powerful entity, what would that do to her psyche? And therein lies the true horror, or one of the many aspects of the true horror in Bloodborne, right? So yes, we could go that route and explore these ancient mythology or all these events in great detail, not all of them, but a side of these events in great detail, and sort of explain more, show more of what has not been shown. However, I think that's a tricky route, because the moment you show something, you make it canon, you're basically just showing, you're taking a lot of the exploration aspect of these games, of the theorizing aspect of these games. I think a less superficial way to tell it, and a more subtle way to tell an amazing story, would be to leave a lot of things open for interpretation, and to just tell a story with perhaps a character that we haven't seen before, but still like not explaining everything that the character goes through, because the character doesn't have to understand everything that they go through. Hell, I played the entire game a bunch of times and I don't understand everything that I went through while playing that game, right? So yes, I just think that there are many ways to keep this upcoming movie, an action, gothic, cosmic horror masterpiece. Once they produce it, apparently there's not even a script just yet, which is wild. But I am definitely very excited for anything Bloodborne. It's such an amazing game. It was heartbreaking for me to sell my copy of Bloodborne and my PlayStation 4, because that's unfortunately a game that as of now you can only play on PlayStation 4. So yeah, it was heartbreaking, but you know, I've yapped long enough. I am in love, absolutely in love with this game. Again, all the stories, a lot of them I can't really go into detail because I would just be going down rabbit holes, but there's just so many characters that I like in this game. Gascoigne, Hendrik, whom I share a name with, even Maria, the doll, like German. Oh god, the story of German, it would be so cool. And what's this other guy's name? The vicar. His name escapes me, but and then then there's this like awesome kind of subplot about the division between like spirituality and science that is just so, not spirituality but metaphysics and science, that it's so cool. And I would love to talk about all of that perhaps in a different video, but right now I just wanna keep dreaming of go back to the hunter's dream of a world where we have more Bloodborne and just explore this amazing game in my mind again, and perhaps reminisce of all the good times that I had, funnily enough, ironically enough, while playing this game. Because that is another thing that should not be lost in, obviously I'm a fan of Warhammer, if you've seen any of the videos in my channel. And people often wonder, like, why do people like Grimdark, like true Grimdark, where there is very little hope, I assure you. Why do people like to read stories about characters who are faced with just endless horror and tragedy? And well, it is often in settings like those where you find true heroism, where you find true stoicism, where you really find the will to power through some of the worst things that reality and life can throw at you. So again, I could keep yapping for hours about this topic, but I don't want to make this video completely unwatchable. So with that being said, I would now love to read your comments on the topic, your thoughts and opinions. Please let me know down below. What are your expectations? What would you like this movie to cover? What sort of animation? Or will it be, a cool idea too would be one of those like silent movies with just no dialogue in it. That would be cool too. That would be a cool experiment. There's just like, from an artistic point, so many different ways that you can tell an amazing story visually and narratively. So yes, please let me know in the comments down below. With that being said, thank you so much for coming. Thank you for watching. This channel is well on its way to reach 150 subscribers, and I can't believe it. I am terrified of people actually watching my videos, even though I keep making them and I want more people to watch them. It is always scary when I open up my video in the morning and it has 100+ views. I lose my mind a bit. But thanks for all the support, and if you would like to keep supporting the channel, please like and subscribe. As always, if you like this video, send it to a friend. If you hated this video, send it to your enemies. And with that being said, ad astra, and remember, there are no female custodies.